Good evening and a very warm welcome to this show on NTV. As always, it's a pleasure to have you all with us here in the studio. What are we going to discuss today? Well, we got umpteen number of suggestions in the past few weeks to discuss the topic of learning disabilities. And I was wondering, well, learning disabilities, this is something that affects a few. This is a very rare issue. So why should we spend an hour discussing this topic on TV? But then they persisted, which forced us to do some research, and we came to understand that almost 10% of students are affected by learning disabilities. Now 10% means you have at least 2 or 3 students in each class who's facing these problems. And the research further elaborated and said that more than 70% of parents are not able to handle these issues effectively. So that makes it not just a minor issue, but that makes it an issue that affects hundreds, if not thousands of people worldwide. So that's why we're going to discuss this topic live on air. And joining me in the studio very soon is a very special person. Her name is Laila Jacob, and she is an accredited learning disability corrector. So she'll join us very soon and we'll address our questions to her. And dear parents and students, we wish you have a very informative and useful session. But to begin with, I would like you to sit back and watch a small video clip addressing the question, what are learning disabilities?
So, what are learning disabilities? Well, the term learning disabilities is kind of like a blanket because it covers a number of different disorders. Learning disabilities affect how a person takes in verbal or nonverbal information, how they sort, organize, and retrieve that information, their ability to remember it, and even their level of understanding. People who have a learning disability can struggle with spoken language, listening, speaking, and understanding. Reading and writing can be a challenge, and math can be a real hard stone to move. And just like how people's taste in fashion can range from socks and sandals to high fashion on the catwalk, learning disabilities can also range in their severity and how they affect people. Many people with learning disabilities are very intelligent, even gifted. With the right help, they're able to learn just as well as anyone. The alarm bells ring and the red flag is raised that someone might have a learning disability if they need an unusual amount of effort and help to be successful, or if they are unexpectedly underachieving at school or work. The impact of having a learning disability and the challenges that often come along for the ride, including attention, organization, social skills, anxiety, and others, can change as a person goes through life. From school to home to soccer practice, every person with learning disabilities is unique and remains unique as they travel through life.
Welcome back. Hope you found the video informative. As I mentioned, I've got a very special person here with me in the studio, Ms. Laila Jacob, who is an accredited learning disability remediator. So, Ms. Laila, a very, very, very warm welcome to the studio. Thanks a lot for joining us. We really appreciate you sparing your valuable time to add value to our program. Can I now request you, for the benefit of our viewers, to kindly introduce yourself in a little more detail?
Okay. As Ibrahim said, my name is Laila Jacob. I work in Sharjah Islamic Bank as the head of talent management. I'm also a special educator. I'm accredited from the Indian Association of Pediatricians. Most of my work has been done in India, where Pooja Bhatt, a speech remediator, and myself had set up a learning center called Disha, where we worked with children having learning disabilities. So that in a gist is a little bit about me.
So you've done a lot of work in India. Have you been doing any work on the subject here in the UAE as well?
Yes, I have children referred to me from clinics in Sharjah and Dubai, and I do work with them. But when I say I work with children, I also work alongside the children there with their parents.
Okay, and I'm sure you'll find a lot of meaning in what you're doing, ma'am. This would be kind of a calling, because helping these parents and children, I think that would be really a very significant thing to do. So congrats for doing all that great work, and once again, thank you for joining us in the studio.
It's a pleasure.
Sure. Leela ji, this sounds like a cliched question, a very wide question. Our respected viewers, today we're only handling a small, brief introduction about the topic, because this is as vast as an ocean, and 1 hour really isn't enough to do justice to all the intricacies of the subject. So we'll try our level best to cover as much as possible in an hour, but if we can't cover a lot of ground, I promise you we'll get Ms. Leela Jacob back here again in the studio. So the question for you, ma'am, is what are learning disabilities?
Learning disabilities are actually a number of disorders
Okay.
which affects the brain's ability to receive and process information. These disorders affect learning, and in individuals who otherwise would exhibit at least average ability for thinking and reasoning.
So basically you're saying they would look normal in everything else that they do, or most of the things that they do, but when it comes to learning something, they face a particular hitch.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why you specifically call it learning disabilities. Million dollar question: what causes this? Why are some people born with these learning disabilities, or can you develop learning disabilities at a later stage? What causes this?
Learning disabilities are caused by a dysfunction of the central nervous system.
Okay.
The factors are genetic as well as neurological.
Okay.
They also, in rare cases, when the brain suffers a damage, there is a change in the functioning of the brain, which, if it affects the processes of learning, could cause learning disabilities.
Okay.
Now, whenever there is a breakdown in the processes, such as thinking, retention, perception, memory, and learning, the individual has learning disability.
Okay. As a layman, I understand what the genetic aspect could be. You know, your parent has it, or your grandparent has it, so it passes down through your genes. But you talked about a neurological issue. What could that be?
It could also be due to the neuron conditions.
Okay.
When one of the things that we tell to be mothers or mothers with young children, it is at the stage up to the age of 6 that maximum neuron connections happen in the brain.
Okay.
And that's when you actually have to do maximum, you have to give the child maximum knowledge inputs. They study languages better.
Okay.
So that is the neurological.
So what you're saying is from 1 to 6 years, a lot of activities happen in the brain, and that's a very crucial period. And something could go wrong there, and you could end up having a learning disability.
Correct.
Oh, ma'am, can people develop it later? Like, God forbid, somebody at 40, or can somebody get this at a later stage?
Yeah.
Do you have cases?
It's known to happen also in later years.
Okay.
Not very late, but it could happen with children in high school, children just doing their 11th and the 12th. These things, we've seen these happen, but there's no explanation for that at that stage.
Oh my God, so things could be pretty normal till a particular age, and then it might start dwindling. That could happen. I've got a very important question for you, ma'am, and a lot of our viewers, especially on our Facebook page, came back and asked us this particular question. You can have a child who's generally faking it, who's literally faking it in class. I don't understand, or I'm not able to learn, but then you have these genuine cases as well. How can parents come to recognize this disability? How can they understand that there's a disability in my child?
It's very difficult. It's not easy to identify learning disabilities. The reason is because there are a number of factors and no one single symptom.
Okay.
So, one of the things is, if your child has consistent difficulty in mastering a certain skill.
Okay.
The second factor could be that there is a consistent gap between the child's potential or ability and his learning achievements. you could start to suspect that there could be learning disability.
Okay, okay. So you're saying he's trying to learn a particular skill repeatedly, he's putting a lot of effort, or according to you, he's doing all that is needed, and it should happen like this, but you find that he's not able to do that. When you say skill, can you give an example of a skill?
For example, if he is trying to say hold a pencil and write or color,
Okay.
and he's not able to at a certain specified age where other children are doing it.
Okay.
Now, one of the things to be kept in mind is at all stages, children do have difficulties in learning. That should not be confused with learning disabilities.
Okay, okay. But I think let me take a few keywords from what you said. You see that there is consistent effort. The child wants to learn and the child is taking a lot of effort, but that's not really translating to real learning.
Absolutely.
Now, that's when parents should begin to get concerned. Ma'am, I'm just trying to connect these two milestones in life. You know, you turn over, you start. Do children with learning disabilities show a little bit of backwardness in those milestones as well?
There would be delays in milestone achievements,
Okay.
but that alone should not determine that the child has learning disability. There could be, they could show, but delays in milestones can also be due to a number of other factors.
Okay.
So that's not a single factor that points to it.
Oh, really? So I think the most important thing is a lot of effort not translating into results. And ma'am, I'm just wondering, and thanks to that lovely movie called Tare Zameen Par, which was released, I think it really did a great job in spreading awareness about this subject and holding a lot of parents by their collars of their necks and telling them that you need to think differently, you need to behave differently, because your kids might need your support. So today we'll be playing a lot of clips from that movie. I wanted to particularly share with the viewers a very sad scene in which our young hero faces an ordeal at school because his teacher is really not able to understand what he's going through. So can I request the studio to play our second clip where our young hero faces a lot of difficulties in school, and we'll have a question about that coming up soon.
Class, turn to page 38, chapter 4, paragraph 3. We're going to mark adjectives today. That goes for you as well, Ishan Avasti. Page 38, chapter 4, paragraph 3. Can I have your attention, Ishan? Ishan! I said page 38, chapter 4, paragraph 3. Read the first sentence and point out the adjectives. Page 38, Ishan. Adit Labba, just help the boy. Come on, the rest of you, look into your books. Read the first sentence and tell me what the adjectives are. Okay, come on. Let's all mark the adjectives together. Just read the sentence for me. Just read the sentence, Ishan.
ये तो नाच रहे हैं.
Silence. Speak in English.
The letters are dancing.
They're dancing, are they? Okay, then read the dancing letters. Trying to be funny? Read the sentence loud and proper. I said loud and proper, Ishan. Loud and proper. Loud and proper. Stop it. Stop it. Enough is enough. Get out. Get out of my class. Out. You want to leave as well? Who is laughing here? Who wants to follow him? I don't want to hear a titter in my class. Look at your books. Shameless boy. Open your books now. Who's going to tell me what the adjectives are? I don't want a sound from this class. Yes.
Isn't it really sad? Because when you look at it as an outsider, it is so easy for you to empathize with the teacher, because the teacher is really struggling to teach her students. It's easy to empathize with the other students because there's someone out there who is really not fitting the group. Someone who is seen as arrogant, someone who is seen as naughty, someone who is seen as not taking enough effort. But only when you watch the movie you realize the pain that our young friend is going through, and only then you tend to empathize with a child with learning disabilities. So, ma'am, I'm sure we have a lot of children out there who are really struggling, who are going through this pain because the world around them is not able to really understand the problem. I have a very important question for you, ma'am. I'm sure a lot of parents would want me to ask this. Can you share some specific clues? Because you gave us an answer. You said there would be a gap between effort and result and achievement. But that for me sounds a little general. So can you give me a little more specific clues on how to spot a child with learning disabilities?
Preschoolers, for example, they would have delays in communication.
Okay.
They would have difficulty in speech.
Okay.
They would not be able to, understand what is said to them, though they are listening to you. And you feel that they are listening and they are not doing what you are asking them to do.
Can I interrupt you, ma'am? But then what happens is sometimes your first child starts speaking quite early, but your second child might be a little delayed. So how can you be sure? Is it something okay, or is it something to be worried about? Especially the delay in the speaking part.
No, actually, there are speech therapists, but you don't need to take a single factor, get upset and rush to a doctor or for assessment. You wait and see how it goes. Okay. And you also realize that speech is difficult for them. They cannot express their thoughts. Okay. These are pointers for preschoolers.
Yeah, and you said they find it hard to understand what you're trying to say. So you say something and they do something else, probably.
They cannot follow instructions, as you just saw in the clip. Okay. He actually would like to read. He doesn't want to stand there and be isolated from his peers, which often happens. Okay. And you see, people see it as behavioral, as his behavior is not apt for the classroom. But that's not the case. He just cannot read or follow that instruction.
Okay, so for preschoolers, you said might not be able to understand what is being told to them, and they might not be able to communicate what they really want to say to the rest of the world.
The second aspect, as far as preschoolers are concerned, there would be difficulty in motor coordination, which means there would be difficulty to sit, to stand, to hold a pencil and color, as I previously said. Then there would also be problems in later years to tie shoelaces. Okay. There would be problems with identifying letters and numbers. Okay. Also, one of the other things that could point out is they would have trouble with routines. That means a daily routine would not be a daily routine for them. They would forget because they have a problem with the memory. Okay. And social skills. Okay. Their socializing as far as friends and family are concerned would be delayed. They would not be able to take social cues, or understand social cues as the other children would.
Okay, you're talking about preschoolers, or you're talking
preschoolers? Preschoolers.
Okay. And in a little more senior children?
In elementary school, there would be difficulty in identifying phonemes. Phonemes is the sound alphabet makes. Okay. Identifying the alphabet itself, blending alphabets together, the sound that it makes. There would be difficulty in reading, in comprehension. there would be difficulty in math calculations.
Okay, okay.
If reading is a problem, they would not understand if you tell them if this and this are you know, apples in a basket, how is it, how many are there altogether? Altogether would not register for them. So they, even if they are good at maths, they would not be able to understand what you are asking them to do with the numbers.
Okay.
The other thing that would be, they would have problems with grammar, spellings, reversal of letters and numbers, which does happen in earlier stages of writing. You know, they write 6 the other way or B the other way, but that corrects itself for children without learning disabilities. But for
Okay.
children with learning disabilities, these are difficulties. Then they would have difficulties in memory, memorization, in getting back, or you know, if they learn something, it would not be in their long-term memory, so they forget. So when you ask them to repeat what is said every day, is like starting a new, starting the same day again. Things like that, yeah.
Leela ji, couple of things that you said, you know, sometimes we feel, oh my God, I used to have it, or someone else. Probably someone with the disability would have all these together. Are you
No.
saying that? Because there are a lot of children nowadays, as somebody who's in this domain, we get a lot of complaints from parents saying that my child cannot stick to a routine. You know, you'll have to tell him again and again and again and again, and still he would not do the things again. Does that mean they have a learning disability?
No, as I mentioned before, you should never take one of the indicators and say the
Okay.
child has a learning disability.
Okay, okay.
There are specific ways to identify it.
Okay.
So you should use caution before you label any child.
We have a break coming up, but and I want to latch on to a particular point Ms. Leela said. We cannot jump into conclusions. We have to really have the child examined before labeling him, before deciding whether he has it or whether he is free from it. But ma'am, this is a topic which is pretty taboo, and I'm sure a lot of parents would not even want to think of the possibility of the child having a learning disability, which can really make it tough for a lot of children, you know, because they find it hard to acknowledge that. We will discuss that as soon as we come back from a break. But we have a question from a caller on air. Okay, so hi, hello.
Hello, hello. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Good evening.
ഞാൻ എൻ്റെ മകൻ്റെ ഒരു കാര്യം ചോദിക്കാനാണ്.
Please ask.
മകൻ ഇപ്പോൾ പ്രീ സ്കൂളറാണ്.
Okay.
ബട്ട് അയാൾ സംസാരം വളരെ പതുക്കെ ആയിരുന്നു വന്നത്. സ്കൂളിൽ പോയതിനു ശേഷമാണ് സംസാരിക്കുന്നത് തന്നെ. ഐഡന്റിഫൈ ചെയ്യുന്ന പേര് വിളിച്ച് ഐഡന്റിഫൈ ചെയ്യുന്നതല്ല.
Okay.
Hello.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
yes.
We can hear you. Parnolo.
ഇപ്പോൾ ആൽഫബറ്റ്സ് ഇത്രയും ഐഡന്റിഫൈ ചെയ്യും, ആനിമൽസിന്റെ പേര് ഐഡന്റിഫൈ ചെയ്യും, എല്ലാം ചെയ്യും. പക്ഷെ നമുക്കൊരു KG വണ്ടിയൊക്കെ ഒരു അഡ്മിഷൻ എടുക്കാൻ ഒരു ഭയം. ഇയാൾ ഭാവിയിൽ പഠിച്ചു വന്നാൽ എന്തെങ്കിലും ഡിസബിലിറ്റി, ലേണിംഗ് ഡിസബിലിറ്റി അങ്ങനെ വരും.
KG admission had come.
Yeah, she has done. The child has done preschool, but
Okay.
the parent is apprehensive to put him or her in a formal school.
No, you must have the child go to the KG. You must go to the school, let them assess him if that is the way you get admissions, and children must go. It is very important that they go to the kindergarten before they reach the first standard. So never keep him at home, and if you feel there is a continuous difficulty, you can get him assessed. കുറച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞ I will be saying why assessment is good. Oh, it's got cut off.
But I think she'll be hearing us on air.
So why assessment is really good, even if your children are not having learning disability. We'll come to that in a little later.
Okay, ma'am, thank you for the call. We share your concern. We understand your concerns. There are a lot of people out there who's apprehensive along similar lines, and we'll definitely explore more questions when we come back after a short break. Please don't go away. We'll continue our very meaningful discussion with Miss Lena Jacob on the topic, does my child have learning disabilities? A short break now, please.